This would be like seeing the iPhone moment and discarding
Hmm.
Apple because you think they're a personal computer company.
Hmm.
It's Tesla is transitioning its business dramatically from auto to autonomy. I don't expect that. There's a good chance that Tesla will not sell autos to consumers in a number of years from now. The business will be too
Mm.
small. The
Oh
business
yeah.
will be too small. And frankly, it's a difficult business. It is a difficult business. There's a lot of physical components to it. And ultimately, it's lower margin than these other software style businesses. I mean, it's great to be in the software business. Microsoft proved that very well to the world, as opposed to full hardware. It's great when you marry hardware to software, like Apple did, and saw a huge win and a category killing product because of incredible integration. But I think where we're at is we have a couple things going on. Is that most of the world thinks of Tesla as an automotive company. Fair,
Yeah.
fair. They don't. If you asked your average person something about Megapack and energy and what's going on, and
Mm.
they wouldn't even know
Yep.
that even exists or is part of Tesla. So Tesla to the world's an auto company for the most part. That's how Wall Street typically views Tesla today. But that would be like Wall Street looking at Apple and saying, well, I saw this new thing called iPhone, and maybe it'll get 2% of the sales or something. But so we have to keep looking at the personal computer side of the business. And great companies reinvent themselves. They put themselves out of business. It's
Yep.
really, really hard to do that. It would be hard for me to make any decision, no matter what's coming out of my mouth right now. If I was an executive, I think I'd have weaker knees and say, "Oh, we should exit the auto business" or something like that. I mean, it'd be like, "Wow, we're making a lot of money here. Let's keep going."
Mm.
But there's a point when robotaxi revenues overwhelm the auto business by far, and then
Oh
there'll
yeah.
be a point where Optimus overwhelms that business by far. So, I think that would be my message. The other point that is more subtle is that a lot of people see Elon, criticize Elon, saying that he misses timelines. He misses,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
here's how I'd respond to that. I do not think in the core of Elon's being that he is trying to be deceptive. I think he is patterned after every awesome engineer I've ever met.
Mm.
They are perennial optimists. They want to see, I mean, in one level, they have a lot of pessimism. Anything they're going to functionally do might fail, so they're building a great solution. But in terms of the overall product, they have a lot of optimism. They see a path to something that doesn't exist. Elon is like that. He's walking ahead of us and he believes these things. I think that there's a difference between being optimistic and maybe missing to elongating a timeline than being deceptive or lying. And I do not think that Elon has any purposeful act of deception. I think he is just simply an optimist, believes in this very strongly,
Yep.
and pushes his teams to extreme limits, and nothing is good enough for the man.
Mm.
So, that means that I'm sure he felt that uh, all truth and goodness in FSD should have been there in version 12. And then reality hit, and they decided they needed a 13 to get the next step. And reality hits,
Mm.
and to build the first super unsupervised, they realize they need a version 14. And it looks like there's this ever elongating timeline. But the important point here is that at some point, these things converge. And when they do, all these, however you want to build motivation behind what Elon says, all disappears. It's like anybody that was trying to believe in his reusable rocket program with Falcon had all these things. Look where it is today. Look where it is today.
Oh yeah.
So that is what is absolutely, with great degree of confidence for me, FSD is on the path to convergence. It is a solution. It will solve self-driving. It is pretty much there. And people can doubt that, and they can throw whatever shade at that as long as they want. But the problem with that analysis is that sometimes, and actually most of the time, these things eventually happen. And when they do, and you were sitting on the sidelines pissing and moaning about it, um, now you've missed out. And when you've missed out, now you can react one of two ways. You can either decide to recognize your own limits and join the party, or you can be a perma critic. And a lot of these people end up in that camp. They just sort of like they can't believe that they were wrong about their opinions of these things, and then they're always throwing lob balls in forever, and they'll never be right, but somehow that gives them some satisfaction, unfortunately.
That's exactly it. For me, if there's any, I don't know, for me, I cover Tesla literally on a daily basis, and I feel like I'm on a repeat, just saying the same thing over and over again. This is a long-term investment. This is something that you aren't putting in for the next week, for the next month, for the next year. You're putting it in for a long time. Now, if you timed it correctly and bought the stock in 2019, well, that's just luck. You came at the right time. But that's hard to, that's like maybe a 1% chance of doing. The best thing you can do is just hold long term and believe in the products. Like someone like Phil and I, we believe in the products. And someone like Phil, who has a lot of experience in software, can see it, he knows. And that gives me more confidence to buy more stock, actually. So
I often have to say to myself, what are the facts that I know, and what do I see? I use this word often, convergence. Where do I see convergence? I don't have a crystal ball as to timelines. Things I think I've said to many people, I said, if I'm wrong, it's only based on time. And some people might say, well, that's a terrible thing from an investing point of view because opportunity cost, you could have been somewhere else. But I can't know when it's going to pop. And Tesla's a very volatile stock. And when it pops, it's going to go straight uphill. So, yeah. So I think that where we all can get this wrong is our optimism translates into compression of time, and we're ahead of the curve, and we're in earlier than we could be. And folks that are not paying attention can come in later and make money, good money too. And that will happen. And some will have that strategy. They'll say, I want to see it. They don't care if they get in at 500 when they think it's going to 5,000, because that's when they see that that FOMO moment has occurred, and that they're not so worried about being on the left side of it. They just want to be in the moment where they see it getting pulled. For me, I want to get in on before that moment occurs.
Yeah.
But I think if anything, what us Tesla optimists, retail investors, or bullish Tesla folks will get wrong is timing. But our timing probably, unless we're extremely optimistic, probably won't be more than a year out. So there are people out there saying that robotaxi won't be a big deal to 2040. They're insane, because the reality is either it will be a complete flop or it will be a complete success. The chance of it taking a linear glide path is completely wrong. It's either going to climb an S curve or it's never going to get on that curve to start with. Exactly. It won't be that straight line approach that you hear a lot of.